Hello, everyone. We are live on January 16th, 2026. This is a Friday, and this is episode number 161. I'm going to put it up on the screen there. The episode page is at ogforums.com/episode 161. And today's episode is with Arline Welty. We're talking about how to evaluate Acumatica with your data before you buy. Sounds good, too good to be true. I'm a little skeptical, but Arline, thanks for coming on to talk about it.
You're welcome. I think being skeptical of this is like a natural first response. It's one that I also had.
Yeah, really looking forward to hearing the story. And I did, what gave me the idea for this episode is you put out a little like New Year's post on LinkedIn, or maybe it's the end of last year. And I actually already put that in the related links on the episode page at ogforums.com/episode 161, in case anyone wants to watch that 2 or 3 minute video, something like that. And I'm like, hey, this sounds interesting. And I like to learn new stuff. And I use the podcast to do that. So here we go. We can do a little background. Do you want to give like a little, I always like hearing where you grew up, where you went to school, and how you landed in the world of mid-market ERP, just a little personal background. What do you think about that?
Oh, I thought we were going to do like our friendship background, because I was remembering meeting you, and you're wearing a very aggressive shirt. But I really wanted to chat to you.
Well, yeah, tell me whatever background you want. You can just go with that. You go with personal background, whatever you think. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you know, there's several things that kind of link into things today. Being a Chicagoan is very important to me. I moved here in 2000 to attend University of Chicago, and there are like 2 University of Chicago influences that I thought we might talk about today. One is a book called Nudge, which will be relevant if we talk about smart defaults when we're talking about the Platinum template. Maybe I'll reference that. The U of C economist and Nobel laureate wrote a book that's very relevant to my work today. And then another sort of University of Chicago reference is that I look at this quote every day from a University of Chicago historian. Hannah Gray was the university's president, and she said this quote, and I look at it every day, and I have it right here. But she says, "Education is not meant to be comfortable. It is meant to provoke, to stretch, to enrich while complicating." And I look at that when I'm trying to learn something.
Can you read that again? I want to digest that a little more.
It's so good. Okay, so she says, education is not meant to be comfortable. It is meant to provoke, to stretch, to enrich while complicating.
Okay.
Hannah Gray. So I look at that quote all the time because it reminds me that it's okay when things are difficult. And, you know, I've had to learn a lot of new technical things over my career. And oftentimes when I'm learning something, I get, an error in the Acumatica user interface. And it can be maddening to get that over and over again. But that's how you learn, and that's how you develop intuition. So it's a good reminder.
I'm going to pair that with the quote that I have on my wall right here by Peter Block. Consulting is primarily an educational process. So then your quote kind of unzips the word educational. And I think a lot of people hear that word and they think training. And training means I stay up late partying the night before. I show up, sit in the back row, kind of half there answering email. That's training. But education, I like that. Read those 3 words again. Enrich. What else?
So she says it's meant to provoke, to stretch, to enrich while complicating.
And it's not comfortable. I like that. And doesn't that match the consulting process with the ERP system?
It matches real life. It matches real life. It's interesting. So your like Peter Block quote also makes me think that it feels like maybe he's intending that as like he's educating the client. But I think a more real interpretation of that is really that both people are being mutually educated. I mean,
actually, the book that it comes from, that
Yep.
Flawless Consulting book, is definitely the latter. Yeah, it's
Okay.
not one way in his
Right. Yeah.
journey that you're sort of a catalyst on a journey, but it's a journey that both sides are taking, right? Yeah, it's definitely not one-sided for sure.
Yeah.
So sorry, go ahead, keep going.
Okay, so like trying to like fast forward through. So I moved to University of Chicago. Obviously, important things happened. I worked in urban planning for a while, so I have like a lot of opinions on how we should be using urban space. And I wanted to do something different at one point. So I ended up working at a manufacturing company here in Chicago, and we made basically highly concentrated cleaning detergents for like industrial use. So that was cool because that was like my first warehouse, my first inventory count, my first understanding of workflow, for example. So I was the system admin for the CRM system, and I learned workflow. And for me, learning about workflow was mind-blowing. That was the first time I saw sort of the promise of software. What we were doing was we were chasing down contracts all over the United States and trying to get them signed by a certain time. And that takes multiple people to do. It took the sales people, it took the controller, it took an internal admin person, and we were like missing contracts. Like contracts were not getting back to us, or we were, there's some admin troubles there. And the solution was to put in a workflow that would basically tell us where the state of all the contracts, where they were, who was responsible. And I built that. And I loved it because immediately I could see, oh, we really need to follow up with whatever, Carol, because she has 15 contracts and they're meant to be signed by next week. Classic, like operational use case. But for me, that was the first time I saw software being able to really do the work of whatever, someone calling around and finding out. Like it was immediately replacing that sort of unwanted human admin. And it was with that workflow project that I was like, okay, this is amazing. I guess I love CRM. That, like, for me, that's what it equated to. Was like, I guess I love CRM because I can see into how we're doing things in the business. But I also saw it had negative consequences because some people don't like to be hounded when they're behind on stuff, right? Some people aren't like a huge fan of getting chased down or having stuff be so public, because it also provides a lot of transparency to what's done and not done. So it wasn't like all roses for me. Like, some people were like not a huge fan of me / this process. But I saw the promise of it, and I ended up getting along really well with the consultant doing this. And when it was time for me to sort of take the next step in my career, I had the opportunity to start a consulting firm, contract for my business partner, and just sort of see if the chemistry was there. And that's how I got introduced to ERP, was through that CRM lens. That was sort of my walled garden, was everything to do with CRM. I would do all the screen configurations, field creation, workflows, all that stuff. I loved it. Educating people on how to use it, learning the add-ons. For me, that was what all made sense. And then over 10 years, I had the great experience of working with my business partner, Mark Binkley at DataQuest, growing that role into like, a partnership role where I got very excited about the data side of things. So growing from CRM into understanding how the CRM and ERP data are interacting, how we can make CRM and ERP data kind of live on whatever screen or in whatever report. That's where that's sort of where I started overlapping with your world, because I was seeing about how can we present data coming from all different sources? How should that data be structured and stored and managed? That stuff became really, really interesting to me because I saw how fundamental it was. And so that gave me great exposure to ERP and the power of ERP and CRM together, which led me to Acumatica. because they are one. And that was also something new and fresh to me, that you could just have these systems, or have, to my mind, it was like ERP lives over here and CRM is in this other place. But I was hugely fond of Acumatica, just putting them together, because that reflects the real life of business. So so that brings me to Stellar.
The CRM side of you. I knew the data side of you and the ERP side. I didn't know, and that was the door that you came in through. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Right. Yeah. So that was the path that led me there. Was just wanting to see how all the data interact. So for me, I really got to know the ERP from a data point of view before I really, saw the interface side of it, because I was like, I knew those tables like back and forth, and knew how to put them all together. So for me, the interface was like, oh, okay, that's how you do that. Okay. I learned that sort of secondarily.
So the picture I have in my head is you start like above ground in the CRM, and then you go digging for gold. You find gold in the CRM, but you run out of gold there. And so you start tunneling over and you hit another big gold nugget, and you're wondering what's above this in the surface. And that's when you discovered ERP.
Okay, completely accurate. But you know what? And I always go back below ground to the data, because that's where all the action is.
So do I. That's cool. So I know that you were, all right, can we bring up the green shirt? Are we allowed to say what it said?
Okay. I don't know. I'm not going to mention it, but I will say I don't want to bash. Like one of my tenets is like, on this call, we're going to talk about the traditional ways and the new ways, but I don't want to bash. Now you bash, so maybe.
I did bash for a period of time. We don't have to go on that tangent. I will, I'll put a link to an episode where I talk a little about where I think the bashing came from.
Okay.
It gets pretty psychological. I'll put a link in the episode page.
No, keep it psychological, Tim. That's where we want to be.
It's very psychological. Yeah.
That's all. That's also very like below ground. So I think it's consistent.
Okay. But yeah, we don't have to go there. But what I do want to ask, so I know that, I think that you've been working with Acumatica for a while, but you've also been working with other products. And so it's turned new year. And what I gathered from your LinkedIn video post, which is in the related links on the episode page, is that new company, kind of big change. And what I'm curious is it now a full-time Acumatica focus, or is it still a mix of products for you?
Full-time Acumatica focus, complete.
Yeah, so that's a big change. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been like the past, like, the end, like the fourth quarter of 2025 was just a period of massive change for me, making this decision, evaluating this decision. There are many aspects of it. There's the personal side is really important. Relationships with clients, obviously relationships with my business partner and colleagues, but also like the product itself. I always knew that I would be working with Acumatica full-time at some point.
Sure.
Yep. I mean, I've been in the community forever, present to AcuConnect, as you know, I'm very involved in the industry, and the product really matters to me. And I always planned to be working in it exclusively. And this was the right opportunity. So that's why I made that video on LinkedIn, and wanted to sort of be clear about this. So thanks for the opportunity. It's a massive change, and it's like all the above.
Right.
It's
uncomfortable. Great. Yeah.
Right. Everything's different, and there's a really exciting pace and energy that I was very, very drawn to. And now I'm in it. I am on the leadership team, so I'm also part of, setting the pace and encouraging others, and sort of motivating and teaching everyone on our team to be doing things the new way. And it's a great role for me. It's exciting.
So I'd like to say welcome to the Acumatica party full time. I feel like it's been maybe more of like a weekend partier, certain nights of the week partier. I think you'll like this analogy, but now, this is like a every night party kind of thing, Acumatica wise. But my impression from the LinkedIn post is, and I want to get your thoughts on this, and then let's dive into it, is the new company that you're working for is called Stellar One.
Right.
And my impression is that the move had less to do with product and tech and more to do with approach and technique. Is that correct or not correct?
That is correct. That is what lured me, was the way Stellar One is going to market, the absolute moxie of the promise of what we're doing, the boldness of taking this risk in order to really change the ERP industry. That was very compelling to me. So I knew of Stellar One through Information Technology Alliance, ITA, great industry association. I've been a member of ITA for like more than 10 years and have met so many, competent, interesting, motivated people. It's, for those who don't know, ITA is I would encourage everyone to look it up. There's a conference coming up in April, and they're actually called collaboratives. They're not even called conference, they're just collaboratives. So it's a collection of two major groups. One is the CTO, CIO role from like top 50 accounting firms. It's also people who own or operate or are highly involved in a leadership role for ERP consulting, as well as people who do accounting consulting. So it's really our niche, and it's a small conference, and there's just lots to learn, and there's no barriers. Everyone's competing, but we're also supporting each other and trying to share knowledge. So it's just a great group. So it was through that group that I met Richard Seller, the CEO. He was on my panel, and I was very impressed with him and really impressed with his bio, and asked him to have a meal with me because I was so interested in what he was doing. And it was like, okay, there's the way that you describe your business, right? And then there's what's happening. And those things are the same at Stellar One. So I was just very excited by, you can do this. When he told me, and I know we'll talk about it, Tim, when he told me what Stellar One was doing, I just thought, you can do this. B, how is this possible? Back to like the beginning of our call, I thought, there's no way. But also tell me everything about this. Because, it's like that push-pull where you're thinking, oh, that can't be, but also if that were happening, I am very, very interested. And like, I want to run toward whatever this is, I'm going to run toward it.
Very interesting. So yeah, before we hear about what it is, we actually had a few people attend live. I think it's like the first time. So I'll throw a couple comments. Yuri says, Tim already provoked. I guess I do have that reputation.
Okay, Yuri, I'm glad you're here.
So yeah, I'll make sure I highlight whatever comments show up here. Haley says that she's excited for you, Arline.
Oh, thank you, Haley. I know Haley through iTech, and our mutual friend, beloved Michael Notley has been so encouraging and has helped me a ton, and still lets me bounce ideas off of him. So thank you, Haley. Appreciate you.
So yeah, please chime in the comments with your thoughts. But yeah, let's talk about what it is. So maybe I don't know how you want to do, if you want to walk through what you know now, or do you want to maybe kind of roll it back to that meal with Richard and what hooked you there? However you want to kind of introduce it. Floor is yours.
Okay. Well, so like I said, that like the way Richard described the business to me and what's actually happening in the business are the same, which I was like, could that be? But what we're doing is we are giving people who are interested in switching ERPs, if they want to consider Acumatica, they can get a price on our website right now. You just say, essentially, are you more e-commerce? Are you more distribution? You can even actually not answer that and just be like, just show me price. And you say about how many people are in your business, and then you immediately get a price. I don't think anyone else is doing this. Okay. So even before you've thought about, do I even want to do business with Stellar One? You know, about how much is this going to be? Now, think about how no one does this, Tim, right? It's like, yeah, let's talk. We'll talk for, I don't know, weeks. We'll do demos for you. You'll see everything. How much does it cost? Yeah, we'll get to that. Now, let's talk more about the product, right? Or let's talk more about your business and how we're going to sort of manifest all this with demo data, which you can see, and we'll pretty much show you. So
how are we going to manifest this? I like that.
You know what I mean, though, right, Tim?
I mean, that is what an ERP implementation is, right? We're gonna try to manifest it. That's a good way of describing it. Can I ask, is that a software price only? I mean, I would think it is, or is it also a services price?
It's one price. So
for both things?
Yes.
Oh,
so
wow.
You're getting into, all right, you're getting your price. Okay, so now you know price, which you care about on day one. When you're buying anything, right, Tim?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know how much it costs. I want to know if you can do what I want it to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, it's a process to answer that question, but we give you that price right away. And we say, all right, like you can do this. I'll just tell you, Tim, I did this at Small Business Expos, fall of 2025. People would come to our booth. I would say, do you want to see your QuickBooks data in Acumatica? They would say, yes. Before they left that booth, I have an Acumatica instance and all their primary data is in there. Is this your customer list? Yeah. Are these your vendor list? Yeah. Okay. Are these your GL accounts? Mm-hmm. Okay. Your site's ready for you. We've emailed you the link. You can log in and our delivery team will contact you tomorrow.
Wow. That's pretty cool. They've got
the price. They've got the site. They've got their data. Are we going to talk about it and make sure they understand customer classes? Sure. But is it all there for them to look at? Yes.
Paint the picture of this conference a little more because I'm getting the feels and I want to get the feel of this conference. So what was the name of this conference again?
So these are expos that happen all over the US.
Okay.
Just small business expos.
Small business expos. And so you went to one, and where was it?
So I went to 3. I went to Austin, Dallas, and Houston.
Dallas, Houston. And I mean, are these expos attended by hundreds of people or thousands of people for each one?
Thousands.
Thousands?
Mm-hmm.
So you've lived this in 3 locations, all in Texas, but hit thousands of people. Very interesting.
You're like, it's Texas, so is it real?
Well, I'm like, it's another country, but it might work in the rest of the United States too.
Right, there we go.
But no, that's a pretty good sample size. And what I think is cool is that you did that before making an official move to Stellar One, it sounds like. So you were really like kicking the tires. What's that?
I was part-time, and I guess on some level it reminds me of my time when I started an LLC in order to contract to my future business partner. Mm-hmm. And it was really, how do we get along? How do we work together? How is the trust? How's the communication? How's the delivery? That's a very comfortable mutual evaluation approach for me. We both have to feel good. And this was similar for me, but also I wasn't rushing into this. Like, I loved my work, right? But I was very excited by what we're doing at Stellar One. So the expos were kind of a big piece of that because that's really testing.
Yeah.
Does this work? And Tim, it was amazing to have a conversation with someone, learn about their business, and then say, do you want to see it on Acumatica? Because I can just show you, right? Yeah. And then have them go through, it's really like a quiz. You just take a quiz, you get a price, we're connecting your QuickBooks Online data, all that primary data flows in, and then it's like done. Like all the work of like, just in the traditional model, you're like, oh, I need some exports. Can you get me the CSV? Can you get me the file? And they never can. Or they'll get it to you in 10 days. Or it's partial, or the data's bad. I mean, there's just, as we know, below ground where all the data live, it's not pretty. Like, it's not pretty down there. But with this technology, all that friction is gone. Like, there's a philosophy of, can we make this effortless for the customer? That is taken to a high degree. And a lot of decisions get evaluated with that question. Can we make it more effortless for them? And this is one exact way, because it is always a pain to get the data, but you can't tell the story and make a convincing argument unless you've got that.
Interesting. So you manifest a demo environment in 24 hours, essentially, and you've lived it in 3 cities.
Oh, that demo environment is ready for them as they're standing at the booth.
Oh, I thought, okay.
Then
I missed
stand
that
at
part.
the booth, Tim. You know what else happens? You know what else happens? There's a link. We click on the link. Up comes their site, Tim, with their colors, which we detected from their website, and their logo in the upper left. It is theirs. It says yourbusiness.acumatica.com. That's
cool.
the URL. And then I say, let's look at the customer list. Are these your customers? Cool. So the thing that happens in 24 hours is, our delivery team, of which I'm a member, contacts you to, help you through it, make sure you know what you're doing, help me make sure everybody else has access to the site who needs it, that sort of thing. It's that like hand-holding finesse that's going to happen in 24 hours. But if you want to log in right now and do something, you can do that. So no one else is investing in the technology to make that part easy. But it's this part of the decision that is so interesting to me, right? Because we're giving you all the stuff on day one that can take weeks to get in a traditional model.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. All right. As a skeptic, now I was born in San Diego, but I really should have been born in Missouri.
Like, what are the risks? It will go on.
Yeah, Yuri, type in your wrist thing. I remember you had a comment. I can't remember what it was.
That was a good one. He was like, I'm pouring some salt.
But I mean, I should have been born in Missouri, which is the show me state, because I'm always like, really? But okay, we got to admit, there's always got to be some configuration changes. You're not going to nail it in while they're at the booth, right? But I like that you have and I like the word moxie to take a crack at it. But you must set some type of expectation, right? That like, we could make a major change to this, but at least a picture's worth 1,000 words, and you're getting a quick picture of what things look like, right?
Okay, so an example of what you're talking about, and this might address a couple things, including Yuri's questions, is, Tim, when I create a new customer in Acumatica, I still have to make choices about it. I still have to define payment methods, right? Contacts, customer class. How does that work, right? So we cope with that a couple of ways. We've got, and this gets at this smart defaults question, because we're thinking about configuration, but how can we get away from, like, I have like, I don't know, I'm thinking of like this, the kind of screwdriver you use to like fix, I don't know, like a pair of glasses. It's like a teeny tiny, it's like the most minute, it's like a jeweler's tool. How can I get away from like the jeweler's tool and get to, I don't know, like a crescent wrench on the biggest setting and be like, let's do this to get you started. Okay. How can we do the crescent wrench and get you started and get your data in and make the best defaults possible so that in 6 months, you're not like, oh no, this is all wrong, right? Like when it comes to that primary data, the customer's GL accounts, items, like you need to get that right? But we're doing it on day one. So for example, one of the areas of responsibility that I have is, I like really do think of this one as like a beautiful garden, and I'm like a monk out there like raking the sand.
I love it.
And then it's very serene. There's got to be like a gong that goes off when a change is released.
Very Japanese, right? Because it's very precise, like the bonsai tree. Very, intricate.
That's called the platinum template. Maybe I should call it I should just call it the bonsai tree, though. Okay. So the platinum template is the template from which all other member sites are spawned. So when I was at the expo and I was signing someone up and we clicked go, a platinum template copy was created. And all
so you had to make the decision which platinum template to pull off the shelf.
Well, there's only one. And this is something we thought about, Tim, is how many should there be? Should there be one that's just e-commerce?
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Yeah.
Should there be one that's more B2B, B2C, distribution, manufacturing? How do we do this? But let's take e-commerce versus not. I concluded that we should just have one. A lot of that special configuration that's e-commerce is happening over on your Shopify site. Okay. We're doing product images. We're adding all different tags. We're adding important SEO elements. And it's likely, especially for people running Shopify coming off of QuickBooks, that would be kind of our ideal customer. They've got a Shopify site already, and that needs to stay the way it is for business reasons. Marketing people are used to it. They've got SEO built into the way that is. That needs to stay as it is. Acumatica needs to pull from that. Now, I'm still going to make decisions around the data that comes through there. And I'm circling back to the expo for you here is, let's say I'm going to pull customers and vendors from the QuickBooks site. Those are going to come in with a customer class of trade, which I've already configured, and I've already created payment methods that meet most of the payment methods I'm going to expect to see. Same with vendors. I pretty much know what our terms are likely going to be for most everyone. I'm going to make that class. Now, if I'm pulling in customers from the Shopify site, those would be in the e-commerce customer class. Okay. So I can make these smart determinations in order to pull in most of your data and have it be 80%. Yeah, this is already what I wanted.
That's pretty
so
cool.
I'm removing the cognitive load of making those jeweler's tool decisions at the customer class level. Okay. Because obviously, if it needs to change, you can change it. So the other 20% gets handled with, how do we, especially since we want to scale, how do we create tools, education, videos, supporting documents, even flows within your Acumatica instance itself, within the browser, flows that help you, and say, for these other 20%, if you want to change something, here's how you do it. Here's the meaning of a customer class. Here's the implication of making these changes. Here's why we created these defaults. You don't have to have it this way. Here are the tools to make those changes. But again, that doesn't necessarily happen, me telling you on a call one-on-one for an hour. That might happen with us sending you a video log of here's what these classes mean, right? Want to change them.
So, well, I don't want to go back to the video log comment, but before we do, it doesn't matter what industry they are. So if they're manufacturing, distribution, construction, you're still going to fire up one template for the sake of getting them a site before they leave the booth.
Yes. Although I would say fewer construction, that's an industry we're not actively in.
Okay.
But certainly if you're an e-commerce business, especially if you're B2B, that would be us. Distribution, manufacturing, we can come up with that. And yes, you would all be spinning off of the Platinum template.
Cool. And you could always spin up a second one if you needed to, but I like the moxie. Gonna use that word as much as I can, because that's okay. You got a lot of moxie here trying to do this. or doing this, not trying, doing it. I like the less is more approach. So here's my visual for that. I mean, you're basically going with one ring to rule them all. You know, this is one template for now. And I like that, like going with that approach. And then if you really need to, you could do a second one, third one. But I like that you didn't, so many times ideas like this, they just get incubated to death and discussed to death. And when you do that, you wind up with 10 templates out of the gate. So I like that you went out of the gate with one. You're doing it in the real world. And if the real world demands a second template, you'll do it. But I like that. I like that approach. That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a little more emphasis on what can we harness from our collective knowledge of both the platform itself and the ERP industry and people who are likely to be our ideal customer. We likely know the way most people will want most of these configuration settings. So let's let's like have the confidence to say, this is the default. This is why we're choosing this default, instead of just like tabula rasa. Tell us everything you want.
That's cool. Wait, I don't know that reference. I have to look that one up.
Oh, just like blank slate.
Okay. See, I was going to make this point earlier. So like, with the point of how you like went through the process of deciding to eventually jump in full on with Stellar One. So I went to UCLA, and in California, you've got the state school system, you got the UC system. I grew up in San Diego. So like if I'd gone to San Diego State, I would have been like, oh, let's just jump in. I went to UCLA, so I'm a little more like, let's explore. I'm skeptical before I jumped in. But then you went to University of Chicago, which is like, I mean, really going to do your homework, and you did that. So anyways, I was thinking of that analogy earlier.
Yeah, if you had used like analogies of like staying all night studying, I would be with you. Staying all night partying, I'd be like, what?
Yeah, so you did your homework on this, but then you've actually done it in the real world. So very interesting. So all right, go back to the booth here. So someone's at the booth, you then fire up a site, you hand it to them. We don't have to talk about licensing and how you're pulling that off, because I think we need to keep some secret sauce for you. But the impact on that person, what's their like impact? Are they kind of jaw drops? Can't believe it? What's the response been like?
Okay, so Tim, you and I are jaw dropped because like no one does this, but
they just expect it.
They're like, thanks.
Interesting.
That's the thing that is different between like, okay, so let's say like the people going to ITA, the conference I mentioned earlier, everyone in our industry is like, no way. How did you do this? Yeah. They have not done hundreds of ERP implementations the way we have. They don't know that there's another way that's hard. They only know there's this way that's easy. So potential risk there is the whole thing seems easy, but maybe that's great. Maybe that's what you want them to feel like. Yeah, I'm just gonna switch ERP maybe today.
Interesting. I think what that also tells me is they're not looking at another product because they wouldn't have got that.
No, well, it's true. They would be impressed only if they had already started a conversation with a competitor, competitive product, or in the rare case have already been through an implementation. But if they have been through an implementation, it's probably 10 years ago. Like they could also be under the impression, oh, it's different now.
Very interesting. Mm-hmm. So then you also mentioned something about a video, and are you packaging up like a library of video content so that you can explain what a customer class is and the implications of it in a video training course setting, instead of having to get on a call every single time with every single client? Talk to me about that.
Okay. So there's also, at Stellar One, there are a lot of like ways, the way we do it. I'm going to just package this answer in the framework of how is this business being run? And I want to talk about Entrepreneur Operating System, EOS, which is a framework.
I've been so into that. Okay. Didn't know this was coming up.
Okay.
Super. thrilled to hear this. Okay, go
But,
ahead.
but I think it helps explain why. Well, I'll just quickly define entrepreneur operating system, colloquially EOS. I thought was just like a tech industry thing, but it's not. It's used in many different industries, but it provides a very useful framework and tools for running your business and also scaling your business. It's a little bit E-Myth-like in that it's meant to put structures in place in the business that help it scale, but also help it be learnable and legible to many people in the business. So what that means is, there's lots of practical manifestations of this, and maybe we want to talk about it since you're enthusiastic and I am too. But it means that there's often like there's a way that we do things. And I think EOS kind of engenders this way of thinking. We do it this way. Here's what we do. And also everyone learns it and understands it. But one of the ways that we are is there's an identification of us. I'd be interested to talk about both of these. One, we are a product company. Two, we're a media.
You're talking about Stellar One. You're not talking on behalf of a client, right? So Stellar
No,
One
I'm
is a
talking
product.
about Stellar One. We
Yeah, okay.
are a product company, and then we are a media company. So when we think of we are a media company, what does that mean? It means we have a presence online. We're easy to find. We're transparent, but also we're informative. We're making content. So internally, what that means is people in different departments transparently share with all of us what's happening in their department. And how do they share that? On a video. I know what everybody looks like. I know what people are up to. And that's because there's a default to, let me communicate to you using video. So people are comfortable with that internally. Now, those aren't for
because
external.
You're a media company.
I think that's where it comes from, is that ethic of we're used to this. Yeah, so then externally, the way that manifests is, all right, and we're actively working on this. I wouldn't say this is done, right? We're building, but at a high rate. At a rate of, the goal right now is every person on my team, delivery team, is making one video per day about anything to train on. So I did one this week on using the import filtering to pull customers from Shopify with conditions. Okay. So often if I find something or learn something, for example, I can't use a date-based parameter when I do that. That's upsetting. That leads to me making, an Acumatica feature request, but also leads to me thinking people need to know about this, because I want our members to think through, what if I just want some of my customers to come in from Shopify? Or what if we're in a position where they're pulling all their data into Shopify? They're going to need to know all of us, right? So it's with that mindset that we're creating videos daily or near to it, both on the big picture, like a curriculum level philosophy. What is the procure to pay process? Something big that's, more, that's going to be a series, to something micro and digestible, like how do I use the import filtering on the Shopify screen as I'm pulling in, or on the Acumatica connector screen as I pull customers from Shopify with a condition. We can do that in 2 minutes. So there is an emphasis on this. And as we look through questions that members send in daily, we are asking ourselves, one, do we have any resources for this already that we can send you right now? Because often the questions are, how do I? Okay. Now, parenthetically, excitingly, we are trying to use AI Studio to get those cases qualified in our system the moment they come in. Using AI Studio to say, well, how do I classify this in the right case class? If the case class is how do I? That's probably a good candidate for either send a video that we've got, or we should really make a video on this. And every day, as we look at those cases, there are nominations.
What do you mean by a nomination?
Something that we should make a video on if we haven't already. So for example,
okay.
Hey, how do I set up the commission for a salesperson at this customer?
Yeah.
Is that linked to the salesperson screen and the customer screen? You know, how do you maintain it? What's the relationship? Understanding something like that, we realize that's a question that's going to get asked again.
Two things before I pester you with thousands of questions on this. Do you have a hard stop at the top of the hour?
No, we can continue.
We can? Okay. So you just pull the plug when you need to go, because otherwise my job is, as I mentioned, I think before we went live, my job is to be a vampire and suck as much knowledge out of you as I can as possible. Then second thing, I guess my comments icon isn't working. I didn't see this. So let's go. Let's just run through these. So Elizabeth likes bonsai tree better than platinum template. And as I think we were talking before we went live, you know, when marketing people get a hold of something, they're just going to change the name on you every 2 months. So I guess just be prepared for that.
Okay. Elizabeth's already taking it up.
And when I say marketing people, I'm not talking about Elizabeth, because actually I don't remember.
Elizabeth is my colleague. She's on the leadership team. She's in charge of going to market. So her comment could be very influential.
Okay. You know what? But I wasn't directing at anyone. I was directing at me, because I've mainly been working in marketing, and I'm just learning. You always changing the names on stuff. Yuri says, yeah. So Yuri is still in the skeptical. He gets questions, concerns, issues. So let's run through. You don't have to respond to always, Yuri's, but one is initial loading takes so long. Two is, not sure he wants to. So we lost. We could go on and on with specific issues. And I don't know that we need to get caught in those, but I did want to make sure that I threw those up on the screen. Do you want to respond to any of that, or can I get back to video?
Elizabeth, great idea. Let's rename everything to bonsai. 100% signing off. Because I need to rename all the tools, like whatever the bonsai tools are called. I need like a rake. I need a gong. I need, what else do you think I need, Tim? You're a marketing person.
I don't know, but what I was thinking of is I recommend to you, because I think you have, I'll just say, a relative in San Diego, if I remember correctly. Is that still the case?
My mom is there, so as soon as you said it, I was like, oh yes, because she lives right by UCSD.
No. The place to go is Balboa Park. Has a Japanese garden. Do you know about that place?
I have been.
Okay, check it out. See what you can pick up from that. Yeah, it's really cool.
You know what I need is like a gold delicate like spritzer tool.
Yeah,
like,
spritzer.
I'm like, you know what? I need to go. Just keep the platinum template fresh. I'll just go. Psh, psh.
I love it, but it's all about where you spray. That's the thing. There's a real fine art to it, right? Yeah, that's why I like that.
Right.
Okay. Right.
You know, I'm spritzing that Shopify connector right now. I'm just like.
I love it. Okay, back on the video part. Okay, so can I ask on the EOS side? And I'm trying to remember what the two words are. One is I think purpose and niche. Does that ring a bell from an EOS perspective? Like,
I wish I could say yes and like run with this, but
that's okay. I'm surprised I actually knew something about EOS that someone else didn't, because I'm like total newbie. I am going to put a link to 3 podcast episodes, 3 previous episodes about EOS. One was Stephanie from Crestwood, because they run on EOS. Another one was I'm forgetting everyone's names. Two other than customers who run on EOS. So anyways, I've been into it. All right. So we don't have to do that on the video content though. So do you have a general rule? I'm curious that every video should be less than X number of minutes.
Yes.
What is it? I'm curious.
Well, 2 is considered the ideal max.
Really? 2? Okay. What's the?
So it's actually controversial though, Tim, but
I'm sure it is. Yeah. Do you have an absolute max that everyone has agreed on that it can't exceed?
Well, I think we wouldn't accept anything longer than 3.
Really? Okay, interesting. Okay, because I put thought into this, like when I built a video training course, and my limit was 10. I didn't go over 10. That's my general rule. Anyways, I was just curious what you're going there. Okay, so then the platform is your secret sauce, right? So let's not even say the name of what platform you're using, or if you built your own, keep that your secret sauce. But considerations I've had in that type of a setting is I think it's like, this is prime time from the tech standpoint to be doing this approach because of things like ChatGPT. So if I go back to 2013, when I was learning Acumatica, I started blogging mainly as a way for me to find my own notes. Because whenever I take notes,
ERP, are you kidding me, Tim? I go back to that Wyatt ERP. I come back to
that one.
One of your really frequent flyer commenters.
Yeah. Stuff like that. I do the same thing. And so the reason why I did it though in blog format is because when I do it in a Word document, I can never find my notes. And I wanted to be able to search for my notes, especially those exact phrases like Wyatt ERP.
Yeah.
And the best way I could do it was with a Google search. Well, the only way to do that is to have my content be public. Well, now with ChatGPT and other AI tools like that, basically you've got Google Search 2.0, but you've got the ability to deploy it on private content without spending. I mean, I think there was a way to do Google private, but it was some massive amount of money. And so I think this is a prime time to be able to do stuff like this. Because if you think of yourself as a media company like Stellar One is doing, and you're now building out the library, you can now have AI generate the transcripts from the videos. You can put in your own little summaries, and now the AI can crawl that content without needing it to be public as a Google search. And then you're taking it to another level. It sounds like you're having the AI crawl the support cases and then kind of match those two together. I think it's brilliant. But there is a technology enabler that has only happened in the last couple of years that makes you actually able to execute this in the real world. Do you agree or no? Or just not? We don't have to make it a binary agree or no. What are your thoughts on that?
I like that. It's certainly enabling us to do a lot more faster. It's also enabling us to think, well, I'll speak for myself, to think a lot bigger about what can be done. And there's a spirit of what else could we do to make it more effortless and easy for members, but B, what can we do that will help us grow? And that involves sharing knowledge, like you're saying, getting access to knowledge that I had once. Like I remember you saying this when we were tweeting a lot back in the day. You were like, I got to tweet this whole keynote so I can refer back to it.
They Twitter, rest in peace, by the way. I forgot about that. Yeah. Go ahead.
So, and I appreciated that.
Wait, sorry. I got on a tangent. Can you say it again? Because I wasn't even listening. Say it.
You're like in a Twitter reverie.
Yeah, I was. I just floated off. Okay, I'm back. Go say it again.
Well, I was just remembering that, like, you tweeted so that you could refer back to it, and that, now you're helping me understand, like, that's also why you blog, so you could basically so you could Google yourself, so you can Google your own knowledge, essentially.
Yes.
Or your knowledge. So the benefit of doing this at the organization level, right, is so that somebody can be off doing that, but all of us can benefit, and all of us can search it internally and externally. So there's definitely a spirit of we are here learning together, and how can we help each other? There is an amazing spirit here of just like being collaborative, learning with integrity, like having the courage to try new things and take risks and think bigger. And is AI a part of that? Yes. It's definitely helping us speed up. One other thing that I might like is,
you don't have to say this because it's part of your secret sauce, but you might not have the ability for the AI to crawl it all in a great way yet, but you can get there. So yeah.
And there's like an expectation of that. I guess that sort of speaks to like the way our company is operating, is like, there's just this expectation of greatness, there's an expectation of scale, there's an expectation that we are doing this differently and we will win with this approach.
Yeah. I like it. That's a lot of moxie. Sorry, go ahead. You were about to go on another point. Go
okay,
ahead.
I wasn't going to forget it. One thing I think you might like in particular is that another way we're thinking about growing and scaling, and I want to I want to get your thoughts on this because I was thinking to myself, I wonder what perspective Tim has, at Trailed, being an ISV, like from the product point of view, what advice or thoughts you might have about this. So we are trying to move toward, well, let me rephrase that. We always put forth the low code, no code solution first. Problems come up, customers have issues, there's some limitation to the platform, I can't do it just like this. When that comes up, the traditional model is develop it. We love the XRP platform. Developers like it. Build something perfect for you. Okay, fine. Stellar One product approach is how can we maximize the tools that we have that are in box that will grow and scale, not just for this member's request. Commissions might be an example, but for other future members' requests. How can we make anything that we're going to write and use as a tool, how can we make that available to members? More members than you. Think of it like that. So anything that we do build, we really want it to be reusable and exist as a product.
From both a low code, no code standpoint and from a development standpoint?
Well, yes, is the short answer. But then the zoomed out answer is we're really trying to focus on low code, no code first.
Yeah, to meet the client's needs, right? So that's why I hear two different things there. Are they two things or one thing?
Well, the two things, I guess like there's a couple. I'm thinking, okay, there's a matrix. There's development.
Okay.
Okay. There's
University of Chicago smarty pants people. Yeah, it's not so simple, you simpleton. It's a matrix. I love it.
You're rich while complicating.
Keep going.
But like I'm thinking there, like we're thinking development, coding versus low code, no code platform tools.
Yep.
Okay. Then I'm making you, Tim, my precious member, the most perfect customization project for you with my jeweler's tools, traditional method. Or, and I'm comparing that to my crescent wrench. If I build something, again, with low code, no code tools, what can I build that would be parameterized to allow for changes and allow for flexible implementations across members? That could be a standalone product that not just you can use, but many other people can potentially use.
Okay. Yeah, the parameters, I get you on that one. Okay.
Right. We can't hard code, right? That's not the way we roll.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Make something flexible and parameterized in the low code, no code tool set to allow for more people to use it. So I'm instantly adding value, potentially instantly rolling it out to you. Okay. You don't have to switch it on, but imagine you're one of our members and you're getting a regular cadence of, we've added additional commissions capability to your system. It's there now. You can switch it on. Here's the video on how to use it. You don't have to use it if you don't have a complex commission structure. If you do, it's here. Okay. So there's this value that's just being pushed. But on the design side, which is where I live, we need to think of how can I build something flexible and scalable, and that is a product.
Right.
People will use.
And so I still hear two things. So Smarty Pants, University of Chicago people, you can see the matrix. I'm like simpleton, backwoods UCLA guy. And so I'm like, I can handle rules of 3 at a max. Otherwise, it gets blurry for me. I like exploring the matrix, but I don't see the matrix, and I can't fly around the matrix like you can. So I'll tell you what I hear. What I hear is two things. One is, and I'm trying to find the book. I can't find it. I'll find it, put in the related links. but a concept of duct tape programming. And I like that concept, which is why I'm a big fan of Microsoft Excel, because I think it's a great tool to mock something up and just throw duct tape at the situation. And I think that when you throw duct tape at the situation, 9 times out of 10, or maybe let's go with the 80-20 rule, maybe it's 8 times out of 10, 5 years from now, the duct tape still works. No one's messed with it because it still works. So I'm a big fan of duct tape programming. And to me, that's low code, no code. It's like, let's just wrap it up with duct tape and solve the problem and move on, right? I'm not thinking about product there though. So that's one side of it. But then the other side of it is, all right, now it gets to the Smarty Pants University of Chicago people. And now they're going to get out their little fine tools and they're going to start thinking about how to productize that, maybe still in a low code, no code way, but they're going to now think outside of the one customer box. That's what I hear, but that might not be what's actually happening. But again, my simple brain, I hear two different things.
Okay. Yeah, we can keep it to those two. And that's interesting. Like your analogies are interesting to me because in some ways they feel like the opposite of the way I would describe them. Like I would describe the duct tape one. I'm thinking like, what could that be? Because I feel like duct tape is ugly. So I don't want to say it.
Yeah, but it's back office.
Okay, I got it.
Back office accounting processes. So who cares? Yeah, but go ahead. Yeah, keep going.
Okay, we're doing like, we're like shopping for a blazer and there's like a beautiful one off the rack. Let's just make it Tom Ford. That's the low code, no code tool. It's still beautifully made. It will last. Now, on the other side of the way to go get your blazer is I'm going to do made to measure. I want it my neck size. I want my shoulder size. I want this many pockets. I want this lining. I want this embroidery, right? That is the perfect development for you and you alone. Oh my gosh, wait, I'm against guns, but you know when James Bond has the gun that like only he can fire because it's like matched to his hand?
Actually, I don't know James Bond very well. No, I didn't know this. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Next podcast, we'll go through all of them. But just think of that concept. Only he can use it. Okay.
Okay.
This is something that everyone can use, a pocket knife. Okay.
So that's a developed solution.
So develop is
the
custom thing for you. It will only fit in your hand. Only you can wear the blazer. Anyone else wearing the blazer would look foolish.
Okay.
But it's only for you ever.
Yeah.
Will it last forever? I don't know. There could be breaking changes because Acumatica is always being developed. But with my beautiful Tom Ford blazer, or my colleague bought a Brooks Brothers blazer for his first interview, and he showed it to us. Now it's 10 years old and it looks absolutely sharp, right? It's great. It grew with him. It is good. It is not ugly. It is not duct taped. It is resilient. And I bet a few other people with about his build would probably also look great in it.
Okay. So that's your view on it is the opposite of product versus build too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And since you don't like guns, maybe instead of the James Bond one, it's the designer lady in The Incredibles. You know, she makes like the custom suit for each one of the Incredibles characters.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, find that. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So solutions, productizing solutions because you're a product company makes sense. Low code, no code, getting customer solutions. And back to the video part of it. If you build, okay, so using your analogies, let's go with the blazer off the rack.
Okay.
If you build like a quick low code, no code thing for a client, do you make a video overview and stash that in the global library so someone else could see it and be like, oh, I might be able to use it with a few tweaks?
That's exactly it, Tim. Okay, I've made this for you. I'm thinking of you, but I'm also thinking of other applications, right? So yes, any artifact that we build, we also need to build architecture around, right?
Mhm.
So the video around it, or the videos that explain what it is, why we made it, how to configure it, how to change it if you need, why we did it this way, the problem that it solves. That might be a series of videos, but those all go as artifacts with that development.
And then you might not be here yet, but then what I would also want, to me, the most important thing about product thinking, and this is like, I've really doubled down on this last year and a half with Trailed shirt on, Trailed logo. I guess I'm supposed to do this kind of stuff.
Well done.
Is how to solicit feedback. So like, I really like the Acumatica the Acumatica ideas area on the community, where anyone can throw an idea out there. People can vote on it, comment on it. And to me, that's a key part of product thinking. And so don't know if you're there yet, but in that, what is it? It's a display. If we stay with the retail example, right? I see the blazer on the rack, but in that display, I've also got the price. It's 15% off. It's, there's sort of a multiple things in the display, not just the blazer. And so you've got in the display, you got the product itself, you got the demo video, but then to me, I also want a way for people who are using it to transparently share the good, the bad, and the ugly, and incorporate both commentary and product suggestions, so that your product team doesn't have this dark hole area of feature requests and no one knows what they are or what the priorities are. It's all transparent to anyone who's using that product, so they can all give the real world feedback. Thoughts on that?
Yes, that is being built, but I would be interested to hear more about how you use it. So let's say you get all this feedback. How do you decide when to update your product? Like, what's your process for that? And what's your view and advice you might have with that product thinking in mind?
Well, yeah, because I'm not close enough to product, I'm in marketing with Trailed. I can't give any authority on that, but I can give an opinion.
And I will.
And I will. I'm totally in the embrace chaos mindset, right? So my tolerance for chaos is much, much higher than the typical person. So mine is like, everything should be transparent. And then you need a way, it's like 3 levels, right? The complete chaos of commentary, right? Ideally structured in topics. I think of it like a forum. So everything does have a topic, and the chaos has to go underneath a topic, right? And then the topic essentially is now a feature request, right? And then where that gets a little messy is, someone needs to own the chaos and like combine feature requests when it makes sense, or split things up when the conversation gets off to a tangent, right? And this is really a separate thing. That's where that gets a little messy. But I still think of it as 2 tiers, right? It's like topic, commentary. And then you need a way to vote on the topics so the community can vote on it. But then ultimately, someone still needs to own the product and make some kind of decision that's never going to be popular with everyone. So that's like a 3rd column. That's like the actual priority from a development perspective. And that's the part I've never seen anyone actually show that. Like even Acumatica, you've got the chaos in the product ideas area. You've got the public voting in the ideas area, but you don't have the, here's the stuff that we're targeting for the next version kind of thing. You sort of do, like with the statuses on it.
Yeah, it's not planned, but you're just like,
yeah.
Where's
So it's close, right? But you still have the Jira world that the developers live in and put all their comments in. So for me, in my perfect world, and I've never seen anyone do it, but the Jira would disappear and it would somehow all live in the public world. Don't know if you could actually pull it off, but that would be, that would be my crazy idea.
I like that. I like the transparency idea too. Actually, like totally appreciate that feedback, because I could see members or anyone who provides feedback on something wants to know, did anybody hear me?
And I am okay though with gating it so that it's only people who are actually using it. I have I used to be totally like public content person. I've changed personally on that, where I do see the reason why you don't want your competitors and stuff to just steal all your stuff and that kind of thing. So I'd be totally fine if only people who are using even that product could see it personally. But yeah, it comes down to execution, right? Nothing's perfect. That's just my random thoughts on it. But yeah. I love the idea. I love coming back to your main things. You're a product company, you're a media company, and coming back even to that educational point. And I still haven't written those 3 words down.
It's because it's a really long quote.
You know what? Let's come back to it. Can you read it again? I'm going to like type it out instead of searching for it later. All right, let's come back to it.
I don't know if you could find it. Okay, so she says, we'll just reintroduce
Hannah Gray.
Hannah Gray, Chicago University president.
What's the role? Oh, president. Okay, current president, past president?
Past. It's like
University of Chicago, president emeritus. Is that how you can say it?
That's probably right. Former president.
Okay.
Okay, so
right, are you go ahead with the quote again? Yep.
Okay, so she says, education is not meant to be comfortable.
Is there a comma after that?
It is a semicolon.
Semicolon. I like semicolons.
I know. It is meant to provoke, to stretch.
To provoke.
Uh-huh.
To what? Stretch.
To enrich.
Okay. To enrich.
While complicating.
So there's no and. It is meant to provoke, comma, to stretch, comma, to enrich while complicating.
Nailed it.
Wow. And that was the end of it?
That's the end of it.
Okay. Yeah, once I write it out, I'm like, okay, I'm a visual learner. Okay, so coming back to that part. So your product, but then you're also a media company, because product never, even though you've got it down to I can give you an Acumatica environment as you're walking away from the booth, that didn't happen with one button. I mean, a product doesn't survive in the real world without the education component. So I like that you're a media company helping people getting through, yeah, the stretching part of it, right? So that makes sense to me. I love it.
So we should wrap soon, but I liked that you had brought up positive impact on personal brain cells. So I wonder if we could close with that, unless there's something else.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Your personal, how does this personally impact your personal brain cells? Yes.
Okay. I guess if I like had a visual what was happening in my brain, it would just be like so many new neural synapses firing. There is pressure to ship and build and do. And there's time sensitivity. So it's exciting. And there is a high, like for me, there's a high degree of focus to ship, right? That is balanced with like a real invigoration that I have in an organization of this size to be among more team members than I've had previously. So I get exposed to people at different stages in their careers. Some people are coming just a couple of years out of college and have already, they've already got their Acumatica business consultant badge and are helping advise on important questions, generic inquiries, report designer, the movement of inventory throughout the system. That has been so invigorating to me, but also to compare with people who have already done a lot in their career and are advising and have amazing intuition on things like questions I mentioned earlier. How should most distributors handle this? It's actually kind of a difficult question to answer, right? Because really everyone does it differently. But if we could push ourselves, what could we come up with as that default? So it's exciting being in a position where there's all this different experience around me. Everyone is absolutely like sprinting toward this goal of like fully realizing that product company mindset, fully realizing that media company mindset. But as we're doing that, every single go live is another, it's another star. Like, great, someone else is live, someone else tested the theory. We're shipping things to people, Tim, that could still say no to us. You don't even have to.
So coming back to evaluating Acumatica, we should put a tie on that. Okay. Evaluating it before you buy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where's?
Well, that gets.
And maybe there's two pieces to it.
Yeah, go
one
on.
thing I do need to understand, you've used the word members multiple times. Love that word. Is this a subscription to your knowledge base, a monthly subscription?
If you are a member, you might also be called a customer. When you are a member, you've gone through this risk-free evaluation experience that includes seeing all your data in Acumatica, having your devoted Acumatica site, chatting to our delivery team when you need, and people like me hustling and completely focusing in order to build a solution for you if you don't have it already. The whole time you're evaluating, you know the price. When go live day comes and we're deploying, yes, you start paying, but also you get everything, right? So you get the product, you get our team, you get all the knowledge base, you get all the videos, you get other goodies that we're shipping out to everyone else. Sure, if you decide you need a third-party solution, your price is going to increase, right? Like, there is a price to that. But generally, once you're in, you're sort of getting all these goodies. That's the idea.
So it is geared towards Stellar One, companies for whom Stellar One is the VAR of record for.
That's right.
Interesting.
That's right. That's our audience. Thank you for clarifying that. We're not selling things on the marketplace. We're not trying to sell to other value-added resellers. Our audience are the Stellar One members.
Interesting. Okay. So for your, what's the word? Contemplation. I picked this up from a company called Bangert. They do Sage Intact. I don't know if you've seen any of their stuff. They basically, I think, if I understand it right, they make their library available as a subscription to anyone. Doesn't have to be someone who Bangert is the VAR of record for. No need to respond, because I'm sure you have reasons why you haven't done that, but just different approach. That's interesting. So it really is, you go all the way through, you go live, and now you're in this, like, you're a member in this broader community. Is that kind of how it works?
That's the perfect way to think about it. Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that is, going back to the moxie word, that's a lot of moxie, because if you put a lot of work into that and someone's like, decide, I don't want it, and most likely I'll just stick with what I have, right? It's not that I pick something else, then you just don't get paid in that situation. So interesting.
Yeah, you just get your heart broken.
And so you don't, that's a good way to put it. So you don't have to give the number, because people are going to try to copy this, and you got to keep some secret sauce. I'll just ask, the percentage of people who decide then to buy Acumatica, since you've been doing it for a while, must be high enough where the model is making sense. Is that true?
There you go. That's it.
Okay.
It's high. It's higher than the traditional model for the reasons we described. You can see your data. It's there already. We'll work with you if there's some special integration or special configuration that you need to see in order to say yes. We just do that. It's all to help you make the decision, right? There's different things you care about in the decision process. Price you care about a lot in the beginning. Then you care about it less as you're determining, can this do what I need it to do? And do I like these people, right? And then we care about it a little bit more when it's time to actually pull the trigger. But the whole time, we're answering those questions for you continuously, removing that friction so that people can make a good decision And we're transparently doing this in good faith. And we are taking on the risk. Like you just said, you can walk away. Yeah. We already spun up a site, pulled your data, built the technology to do that, went ahead and built you something special just for you, educated your team. You could still say no. But that's also why it's, courageous to be doing it this way. Moxie
is the word. Baby. Yeah. And so, I would definitely expect the percentage of people who actually then buy to be higher, but then it must also make sense profitably from the business standpoint that it's not just about percentage, it's the revenue that actually comes out of that exercise is paying for all the ones that decide not to buy and all the work you put into that. It's already a profitable model for Stellar One. This isn't some still in process experiment for you.
I'd say we're on the cusp.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
Yeah, but it's really exciting, and I love what we're doing, and the people who join this are like, singing from the same hymn book, and really trying to do this together as a team, because it is so unusual, courageous, and on some level it's risky, right?
Yeah.
But it's exciting to be proving that out and taking the risk, and really pushing for us to win.
Can I ask you then one last question? This is on the personal brain standpoint, then we can wrap it up. So you mentioned some, to me, what I heard was like fresh oxygen kind of flowing through with the access to the team and that video library and just the way you're approaching things as a product and media company. I'm also curious, I found this personally to be the case with blogging and producing podcast content and stuff like that. There's something that happens in my brain where when I push the content out in the form of written or video or whatever, it's like it creates new space for new stuff. Otherwise, there's a bottleneck and I can't bring stuff in as quickly. Do you experience that at all? Does that make sense?
That's interesting. So just like with our other analogy, I think of this as the opposite. Like pushing it out is actually what like cements it into place.
Okay.
Like sort of, proving your knowledge externally is a way of like sort of deepening that understanding internally. But I think I know what you mean. Like once you sort of produce that item, it's like, okay, that's off my mind. I can retrieve it later. Let's build the pieces around it, because often when you're producing one piece of content, there's like about 10 things that go with it, to fully complete the picture. So I like that.
So, I guess these might be two different things. So the part I'm talking about is more like it's like a vacuum, that it creates a pull and an appetite for learning more things. Because if you don't at least at some point produce to attempt to package it up, then you're in this continual thing of trying to master it. Whereas if you push it out, you've now created a vacuum where you're like, okay, now I want to learn something else new. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense.
Okay.
It totally makes sense. It could also be like, as you produce that, it's also like you said, the appetite, like the confidence for me is part of the confidence, like that I can learn more, the appetite and energy to learn more. That's the perfect way to put it.
And the time pressure, all that comes together, but it sounds like overall it's been a good experience for you.
Oh, it's a thrill. Yeah. It's like an absolute thrill. So happy to share more, as time goes on, or if we adjust or explode in some new interesting way, like happy to share more when it feels right.
Very cool. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for going over time. Any final thoughts?
Thanks for the opportunity. I'm really happy to, just get to work with you and talk to you. I always enjoy our conversations.
Likewise. Smarter than I am, University of Chicago, little UCLA guy. I almost went on a deep work tangent, but I decided not to go there. Yeah, all sorts of
deep work is life, man. That's how it all gets done. That is how it all gets done.
Well, thanks for coming on, and thanks anyone who's still out there for watching, and we will catch you on the next episode of ogforums.com Real Talk.